I was 8 years old when I realized birthday clowns don't just disappear, they evaporate. One minute they're there, twisting balloons into animals that seem alive in your hands. And the next, nothing. No goodbye. No car pulling out of the driveway. It's like they were never real at all. That's how it started for me. My name is Clara, and this is a story about my 9th birthday party. The day I learned something no child should ever have to understand. It began with an ad my mom found tucked inside her grocery bag. She didn't even remember picking it up, but there it was, a glossy card with bold letters. Mr. Jingles, the happiest clown you'll ever meet. His face loomed over the text, painted in garish colors, his grin stretching impossibly wide. Something about those eyes made my stomach twist, but kids love clowns, right? Or at least, that's what everyone kept telling me. The morning of the party, Mr. Jingles arrived precisely on time. He drove a rusted-out van covered in faded circus decals, clowns juggling stars, elephants balancing on tightropes, lions leaping through hoops, but none of us noticed anything strange about it then. Not yet. He stepped out wearing oversized shoes that squeaked against the pavement, his suit patched together from mismatched fabrics like someone had stitched memories onto him instead of cloth. And his voice, oh, his voice. It wasn't deep or high-pitched like other clowns. It was soft, almost melodic, as if he were singing every word rather than speaking. "Hello, little ones," he said, tipping his hat. "Who's ready to laugh?" We cheered, of course. What else could we do? But looking back now, I realized something odd. None of us laughed during his performance. Not really. We smiled, sure, because that's what you're supposed to do around clowns. But laughter, genuine belly laughs, they never came. Instead, Mr. Jingles performed tricks that felt off. He pulled scarves out of thin air, except some of them seemed too heavy to be fabric. When he twisted a balloon into the shape of a dog, its ears twitched as though trying to catch a sound only it could hear. And when he juggled apples, one of them fell to the ground and rolled under the table. But by the time someone picked it up, it was already rotten. No one said anything. How could we? This was a clown, after all. Maybe these things were part of the act. Maybe magic wasn't supposed to make sense. But then came the moment that changed everything. Midway through the show, Mr. Jingles asked for volunteers. Naturally, I raised my hand. I wanted to prove I wasn't afraid. Not of him, not of anything. So I walked up to the stage, heart pounding, while the other kids watched from their seats. He handed me a red balloon animal, a rabbit, and told me to hold it tight. "Whatever happens," he whispered, so quietly I thought I imagined it, "don't let go." Then he turned to the crowd and announced, "And now, ladies and gentlemen, prepare yourselves for the greatest trick of all." Before I knew what was happening, the room went dark. Not dimmed lights dark, but pitch black, like the universe itself decided to blink. I couldn't see my own hands in front of my face, let alone the clown beside me. Panic bubbled in my chest as I gripped the balloon tighter, remembering his warning. Seconds later, or maybe hours, time felt slippery. The lights flickered back on. Everyone blinked, disoriented. The first thing I noticed was the silence. No cheers, no applause, just stillness. Then I saw it. The empty space where Mr. Jingles had stood. Gone. Vanished. Like smoke carried away by the wind. Except, I was still holding the rabbit balloon. Its floppy ears drooped sadly in my trembling hands. And written across its side, in tiny scrawled letters, were 3 words. Find me again. Profile. Quint 2.5 max. 7:05 p.m. Part 2. The forgotten rule of birthday clowns. I didn't tell anyone about the writing on the balloon. Not my mom, not my friends, not even my best friend Lucy, who swore she saw Mr. Jingles wink at her before he disappeared. Something inside me, a gut instinct I couldn't explain, told me to keep a secret. But secrets have weight, and this one pressed down on me like a stone. The days after the party passed in a blur of half-remembered dreams and fleeting shadows. I started noticing things I hadn't before, like how the rabbit balloon never lost its shape or color, no matter how many days went by, or how, late at night, I'd hear faint squeaking sounds coming from downstairs, as though oversized shoes were pacing across the kitchen tiles. But the strangest part, the kids who'd been at the party began changing. At first, it was subtle. Timmy, who used to laugh so hard milk came out his nose, stopped smiling altogether. Sarah, The girl with pigtails who always wore mismatched socks started wearing the same outfit every day. A yellow sundress that looked eerily similar to one of the clowns stitched on a Mr. Jingles van. And Lucy, poor Lucy, she became obsessed with drawing spirals. Big ones, small ones, spirals within spirals, until her notebook pages looked like they were spinning off into another dimension. When I asked her why she drew them, she just shrugged. They helped me remember. She said cryptically, "Remember what?" I wanted to ask, but something in her hollow eyes made me hold my tongue. And then there were the disappearances. It started with Mrs. Henderson, our elderly neighbor who baked cookies shaped like animals for all the kids on the block. One morning, her house stood empty, curtains drawn tight, mailbox overflowing. No note, no explanation, just gone. Next was Mr. Patel, the owner of the corner store where we bought candy after school. His shop remained open for exactly 3 more days before it too went dark. Shelves stripped bare, as if looted by invisible hands. Each disappearance left behind an unsettling detail. A red balloon tied to the front door handle, deflated but somehow intact, as though whoever, or whatever, took them had marked their territory. By the time the 5th person vanished, panic spread through the neighborhood like wildfire. Parents whispered behind closed doors while children played quietly, too afraid to stray far from home. Even the air felt heavier, charged with an electricity that prickled against your skin. That's when I decided to investigate. Armed with nothing but the rabbit balloon and a flashlight, I snuck out one night, determined to find answers. My heart hammered in my chest as I retraced the path Mr. Jingles' van had taken when he drove away from my birthday party. The streets were eerily quiet, save for the occasional rustle of leaves or distant bark of a dog. Every shadow seemed alive, shifting and twisting just beyond the edge of my vision. Eventually, I found myself standing in front of an abandoned warehouse on the outskirts of town. Its windows were boarded up, paint peeling like sunburnt skin. A faded sign above the door read, "Circa Revs," though most of the letters had fallen off, leaving only fragments behind. I hesitated, clutching the balloon tighter. This was insane. What was I doing here alone in the middle of the night? Yet something compelled me forward, some invisible thread pulling me toward the truth. Inside, the air smelled musty, like old paper and forgotten memories. Faint moonlight filtered through cracks in the walls, casting long, jagged shadows across the floor. In the center of the room sat a table, cluttered with objects that sent a chill crawling down my spine. A scarf that shimmered like oil slicks. An apple, perfectly ripe yet oozing black liquid. And photographs, dozens of them, scattered haphazardly across the surface. As I leaned closer, my breath caught in my throat. Each photo showed a different child, frozen mid-laugh, mid-smile, mid-scream. Their faces were familiar, hauntingly so. They were the kids from my birthday party. The ones who changed. The ones who disappeared. Except, none of them looked happy. Their smiles were wrong. Too wide, too sharp, like they'd been painted on by someone who didn't quite understand human expressions. And their eyes, oh God, their eyes. They stared straight ahead, unblinking, as if trapped inside the frames. Then I saw it, me, standing among them, holding the rabbit balloon. Except in the picture, the balloon wasn't red anymore. It was black, charred and crumbling like ash. Before I could process what I was seeing, a voice echoed through the warehouse. Soft, melodic, unmistakable. "Well done, Clara," it sang. "You found me." I spun around, flashlight beam cutting through the darkness. There he was, Mr. Jingles, leaning casually against a column, his grin wider than ever. But something was different. His suit hung loose, threads unraveling as if he were slowly coming apart. His skin, what little I could see beneath the paint, was translucent, veins pulsing with light. "What do you want?" I demanded, trying to sound braver than I felt. He tilted his head, studying me like a curious child examining a bug. "What I've always wanted," he replied, "to make people happy. But you don't." I shouted, tears streaming down my face. "You take them. You ruin them." His expression softened, almost pityingly. "No, dear. I saved them. From sadness. From fear. From growing up." He took a step closer, and I stumbled back, nearly dropping the flashlight. "Wouldn't you rather stay young forever? Wouldn't you rather be happy?" For a moment, I almost believed him. Almost. Because deep down, buried beneath layers of terror and confusion, was a tiny flicker of longing. To go back to the simplicity of childhood, to never worry about bills or heartbreak or death. To live in a world where balloons never popped and clowns never lied. But then I remember the photos. The empty houses, the rotting apples, the endless spirals Lucy kept drawing. Whatever happiness Mr. Jingles offered came at a cost, a price too high to pay. I'm not staying here, I whispered, clutching the balloons so tightly it squeaked in protest. I won't let you take me. He laughed, a sound both beautiful and terrible. Oh, Clara, you misunderstand. You're already mine. And with that, the lights went out again. The darkness swallowed everything. My flashlight flickered once, twice, then died completely, leaving me blind. Panic surged through me like an electric current, but I forced myself to stay still, breathing, listening. Mr. Jingles' laughter echoed around me, bouncing off the walls in a way that made it impossible to pinpoint where he was. It was everywhere and nowhere all at once, filling the space like water flooding a sinking ship. You can't run from what you've already accepted, his voice crooned. Closer now. Too close. You held the balloon. You kept the secret. That's all it takes. No, I screamed, backing away until my spine hit something hard, the table with the photographs. My hand brushed against one of them, and for a split second, I thought I saw a movement within the frame. A blink, a twitch, as if the children trapped inside were trying to warn me. Let them go, I shouted, though I wasn't sure why. Maybe because, deep down, I knew they couldn't save themselves. They needed someone else to fight for them. Oh, Clara, Mr. Jingles sighed, his tone almost tender. They chose this, just as you did. I didn't choose anything. I snapped, my voice cracking under the weight of desperation. I'm just a kid, and isn't that the point? He replied, his words dripping with mockery disguised as kindness. To never grow up, to never face the pain of being human. Isn't that what every child wishes for deep down? His logic twisted into my mind like ivy climbing a tree, choking out rational thought. For a moment, I hesitated. What if he was right? What if growing up really was worse than disappearing forever? But then I remembered Lucy's spirals, Timmy's silence, Sarah's empty stare. Whatever Mr. Jingles offered, it wasn't happiness. It was stagnation, a life frozen in time, stripped of meaning. I'd rather grow up, I whispered, more to myself than to him, even if it hurts. For the first time since I met him, Mr. Jingles sounded angry. His melodic voice cracked, sharp edges slicing through the air. Then you leave me no choice. Suddenly, the room erupted in light, not warm or comforting, but cold and blinding, like staring directly into the sun. Shadows writhed on the walls, twisting into grotesque shapes that seemed alive. And there, standing between me and the exit, was Mr. Jingles, or what was left of him. His suit had unraveled entirely, revealing a hollow shell beneath. His painted smile stretched wider than should have been possible, splitting his face in half like a jagged wound. His eyes glowed with an unnatural light. Not human, but something ancient, something hungry. But I wasn't afraid anymore. Clutching the rabbit balloon in both hands, I focused on the 3 words scrawled across its side. Find me again. This wasn't just a message, it was a clue, a loophole. Whatever power Mr. Jingles wielded relied on people finding him willingly, on accepting his gift without question. But I hadn't come here by accident. I'd sought him out. I'd taken control, and now I would take it back. With every ounce of courage I possessed, I hurled the balloon at him. It hit his chest and burst with a deafening pop, releasing a cloud of red smoke that smelled faintly of burnt sugar. Mr. Jingles staggered backward, clutching at the spot where the balloon had struck, his form flickering like a dying flame. No, he shrieked, his voice breaking into 1,000 discordant notes. This isn't how it ends. But it was. The warehouse began to collapse around us, walls crumbling into dust, floorboards splintering beneath our feet. One by one, the photographs on the table caught fire, their flames consuming the trapped faces within. I ran toward the exit, dodging falling debris, heart pounding in my ears. Behind me, Mr. Jingles screamed, a sound so raw and primal it felt like the universe itself was tearing apart. Then, silence. When I stumbled outside, gasping for air, the world seemed brighter, sharper. The stars above twinkled like they hadn't in years, and the cool night breeze carried the scent of fresh grass instead of decay. I looked down at my hands, expecting to see ash or paint or some other remnant of the nightmare I'd just escaped. They were clean. For weeks afterward, nothing strange happened. The missing neighbors returned, claiming they'd gone on vacation without telling anyone. Lucy stopped drawing spirals and started wearing mismatched socks again. Even the rabbit balloon vanished, leaving behind only a vague memory of its existence. But sometimes, late at night, I hear it, a faint squeak like oversized shoes against pavement. And when I look out my window, I swear I see a shadow moving in the distance, a figure in patchwork clothes, tipping his hat before disappearing into the dark. Maybe Mr. Jingles is gone, or maybe he's just waiting for another child to invite him in. Either way, I know one thing for certain. Birthday clowns don't disappear. They evaporate. But sometimes, they leave pieces of themselves behind. Pieces that linger long after the party's over.